everyone. Welcome. You've got to deal with me today instead of Todd. So he had a little bit of emergency. Everybody's okay, but he's spending his morning in the ER.
No.
So, but anyway, I think we've got a quorum. Is that right?
Yes, we have 7 or 8 partner entities present.
Okay. All right. So you all should have received the minutes from the October meeting in your packet and had time to review those. Is there any changes or discussion?
I'll make motion approved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Scott?
In your packet, you would have gotten financial information. If you want to turn there on Schedule 2, the statement of revenues and expenses. For the month of October, we had $165,194 of revenue, and expenses was the $1,093,614. Make a little more sense looking in Schedule 3 on the comparative analysis, where we've got the year-to-date for these 3 months from this year and last year. And the operating revenues for the past 3 months was the $692,321 compared to the previous year's $504,085. And then on the expense side, $4,514,977 compared to $4,224,177. On Schedule 4 for the 4-week moving totals, revenue high in the 40s, 48, 55%. Ridership, those is the 3, 2, 1% increases, and most of that is getting that source stuff. It really picked up at this point, right after this last year. So that number should come down a little bit on that huge increase, but most of that again is related to that source. On the 4B, the daily fare box revenue average has been 18,000 for all the weeks, and post-COVID, since that March 20th number, if you notice, it was right at 18,000, so everything has stayed steady. For the next, the GFI, the fare box, the ridership. Ridership that came up on it, almost just under 12,000, 12%, based on those actual numbers for the month. As far as past usage there on the next one, it stayed steady at that 67%. Schedule 5, just with statistics part, average passenger day is about 3288. And then for the month, just under 86,000. And on Schedule 6 with the excess levy for November, we got in a couple checks around 350,000 some. So for the year, we are just under a 1% decrease from where it was this point last year. I think that's everything. Let's say, if anybody's got any questions.
Who was this? Do we know what this big spike in ridership was in August?
That was what, again, the SOAR program where we're doing those trips.
Right.
The drug, those numbers are included. It's not just on the bus. It's those, and it really started picking up. It trickled in, I think, a couple months prior to that. But we'll notice going forward, the numbers should balance year-to-date comparisons now, because those big numbers started. It was like July and August or something of last year. It wasn't. It hadn't been for the whole year. That's what I was trying to look. I thought those would be closer because we've been doing that last year, but we weren't doing the full level that we are now. I mean, it's a little steady in time, but the huge increase is right there at that beginning you're seeing.
Okay, got it. Any questions for Scott on the financials?
Yeah, back on Schedule 3, operating revenues. Is that about $200,000?
On the revenue?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, same thing we're looking at. That SOAR money, you know, it's like 40, 50,000 a month is what's coming in now. That started picking up, not July of last year, June and stuff like that, but those next couple months it started coming in. And since that time, it's been steady. So again, same thing to Valerie's question, those should get a little bit closer. I mean, because the investment income's not helping us. It did for a month or two, it spiked. but that's really the only number. And again, ridership on the buses, it's been steady, it's really flat. But it's that
Well,
one
that's a good
number
thing, right?
on the other. Yeah, we can get ridership somewhere, get investments up too, that'd be good.
Where are we at with that investment, you know, a while back, talk about it?
Again, BB&T has gone back to what they normally were doing, so we should see those normal numbers, because we didn't have a huge risk in what the money was in. We still are in the process. We had a lot of year-end reporting stuff. Our year ends this end of September. We've gotten past that point now, and we're gonna look at the, putting together that RFP for the investment companies to really strategically do it, and we'll get some board input to set up the parameters on how we're actually, when we do invest the money. Again, right now, it's not really considered an investment account, it's just a kind of a holding account. But for whatever reason, they did go back to, again, it was very low risk, but we were getting that 20-some, 30,000 a month compared to $200, $300. And they went back that route, so.
Have we looked at BTI at all, the Bureau of Treasurer investment? We familiar with that one?
No, I know we talked about it at one point with the state investment stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Bill Kinney had brought that one up, and we've really looked into it. As far as money coming in, it can be a holding account kind of for the investments. They don't want to do activity where multiple transactions are going to be occurring. We don't have a whole lot of transactions, but they would be an option where we could set so much aside and let them do the investment to keep that within the state.
Because BTI will allow, it's like a liquid account, they'll allow transactions per month. I mean, it's just like almost a checkbook.
And that was what the one we looked at as far as on the investment side with pensions and stuff. It wouldn't do that. But again, we don't have a lot of activity like that, but it still can be an investment one. And once we get to the point where, hey, what do we want to do with this investment? Because we know we're going to be spending some money in the next couple of years, because we have the 10 buses coming. Not all of them are going to be, fully grant funded coming here next year. Ideally, everything comes through with the building, but we do have the excess money we need to do something with. But that number is going to be shrinking.
That's something we maybe address next meeting to get some actual numbers on that, and try to increase our income.
Yes.
if possible.
Any invoices in excess of
We do not have any invoices in excess of 5,000.
Kurt?
Thank you. This month's insurance report, we did have a few minor things. Hit a few parked cars, hit a fence, hit a mirror, nothing major, but again, we have pretty big buses and sometimes those things happen. But no major events to report.
Jacob?
Yes. So in the CAT report, there's not much difference there from previous months. Just maybe a slight increase in the number of trips we're doing. The bottom right there, the SOAR receipts, like Scott mentioned, past month we received just under $66,000. The Medicare receipts there, we received $13,000. Usually every couple months, they'll buy bus tickets in bulk, so that's why that $13,000 number is a little high. That's all for the CAT report. Last month we talked about the upcoming markup, how we were trying to optimize the rostering schedule, the bidding sheet. We met with the union, took in their suggestions. We went back to the scheduling company with those suggestions, and they presented us another option. So we're going to meet with the union today to review the two options and see which option would be the best one to implement. That's all for operations.
Sure, so I want to give a quick facility improvement plan update, and also Chris Baldwin wanted me to let you all know that he's actually, we've looked at this opportunity as a chance to kind of start over and with, especially maintenance in this world where we have a new facility, well, how can we make sure that the maintenance operations are as productive as possible also. So he's actually out in Corpus Christi this week shadowing the maintenance director there who ran the facilities in San Antonio, Las Vegas, several different properties. And so I really appreciate Chris taking the time to go out there, but instead of getting a facility update from him, you're going to get it from me. Over the past month, we've had the core drillings done. Thrasher and their team were on site. They drilled, I think, 17 holes total. and that all went extremely well. We have a design meeting tomorrow afternoon with Wendell to actually look over some renderings of what the facility could potentially look like. So next month, we're gonna have some really neat pictures for you all to look at.
Great.
Some decisions for you all to make as far as, how this property will look. We received really positive feedback from FTA. They had sent us some questions, follow-up questions to our environmental categorical exclusion application, and we responded to them, and they said this, the quote they gave was, "This seems like a well-thought-out, safety-oriented transit plan." So that's good. We're just waiting for that official thumbs up on the categorical exclusion. That allows us to move a lot forward as far as working with our congressional delegation on the grant. Everything's moving forward, and we're excited.
So what's the timeline for that? If I recall, was it like January maybe?
Yeah, it
we were
was-
expecting?
Yeah, the expectation was about a 60-day turnaround.
Okay.
So the FTA definitely gave us a feedback, and then it took us a little while to get the answers. We're working with Thrasher and working with Wendell. There were some questions about that we were waiting on from SHPA, the state's local preservation office. We got the green light from them. So hopefully in the next week or two, we'll actually get some positive feedback from FTA on the board. So I hope by the end of the year, we have an answer on that.
Okay. All right. Well, I see some new faces in the room, and welcome everyone. I think this next item is going to be about you all.
Yeah, so I'll hand this over to Jacob, but we have some employee recognition scenarios we want to make sure we bring light to the board, because our people are doing amazing things every day, and we want to make sure when they go above and beyond that we present it to them.
Yeah. Steve and Rebecca, you want to come up front here? Everyone can see you. So Steve, sorry, go ahead.
It's a good way to speech.
I told her she was gonna do all the talking.
Well, he knows I talk a lot.
Steve here is one of our operators. I think, how many times have you been operator of the year? Is it 3 times?
Well, I tell everybody, yeah, 3, but I did get it in 2012.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So Steve's been here roughly, I think, 14 years, is that right? But this October 30th, I think it was a Monday, there's a missing teen in the Kanawha County area, and Steve recognized the teenager that boarded his bus. So at that point, he called Rebecca, who's one of our dispatchers, and then Rebecca got with Metro and worked with Metro to make sure the teen was returned back to their family. But these two did a great job.
Thank you.
I just want to say too, we're so proud. KRT kind of operates as the eyes and ears all across Kanawha County, and this is an example of people of what we're capable of. And you all paying attention and being able to work together to get this problem solved is really fantastic.
Yeah, had just looked at my phone earlier, and then when she got up on the bus, she looked just like she did when she got up on the bus. But I didn't radio it in right away because I knew if she heard me call it in, she'd probably dart. So I waited till she got off the bus and called her back.
Great heads up.
Great job.
I feel like we're hearing a lot more of these types of stories where drivers, operators, dispatch are doing really, really incredible things. So thank you all. We really do appreciate it, and your hard work does not go unnoticed.
Thank you. Thank you.
You get a donut before you. That's all we can give you today.
We put a letter in their file. We don't have a plaque.
We'll start
We started getting plaques made. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And then,
Thank you.
you got one to stay around too? Secondly, we have an operator, Carl Atkins, who's celebrating his 25th anniversary this year with us. We're gonna have a little celebration tomorrow for him. On Fridays, we have a cake day traditionally after the board meetings, or Friday after the board meetings. So that's how we're gonna present him with a watch. We usually give a watch for 25-year anniversary. So that's how we're having a little celebration for him. Everyone's welcome to attend if you'd like to.
Thank all you all.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Thank you.
The good part of this.
Yeah, that's great.
On to the recast.
Good morning, everyone. You're going to get to hear from me back to back. The first thing in your packet is the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. This is a plan that is developed by the authority and the West Virginia Department of Transportation. This plan is required to be approved every year. So I'm going to go through some of the changes of the plan, and I'll answer any questions that you may have afterwards. But the first portions of the changes are grammatical and wording errors from the previous plan, non-substantive changes. The first substantive change that the board will notice is we actually changed the title of who's responsible for implementing the plan. It was the Grants and Compliance Director, and even though this plan is a part of the compliance portion of KRT, it's actually the Risk and Management and Safety Officer that's responsible for the implementation of this plan. Currently, that position is filled by the same person, which is me, but in the future it may not be. So we just think it makes more sense to put it in that silo instead of having the grants person do it. The second substantive change is with the bipartisan infrastructure law that was passed. It now requires the authority, which is a good move, to present the plan to the safety committee. And for those that don't know what the safety committee is, the safety committee is brought up by members of the authority and the union. We get together every quarter to discuss safety issues related to city center, this facility, driving, etc. So we had to present that to the safety committee. The safety committee met yesterday. We had signed off on the plan, and therefore it moves to the next step, which is to put it in front of the board. The third change of the plan is updating the safety goals. And what basically the safety goals, what the update with the safety goals is they lowered the vehicle miles, revenue vehicle miles, okay, miles that we travel, to compare it to different major, minor incidents, fatalities, NTD reportable events. So that's very important. And finally, the plan adds a section on exposure to infectious diseases. Okay, we think COVID immediately, but remember, we're in cold and flu season. Flu could hit our operators and knock a lot of them out all at once, right? So we need to be careful and really work in order to make sure that we are providing the protection to our operators so that does not happen. If this plan is approved today, I told the safety committee that we're going to work to make sure that we have a process in place to make sure things on the bus like gloves, masks, those types of things are regularly stocked. And we'll come up with that process as soon as it passes. So that's all I have. If anyone had any questions, I will answer them. But
you still have that partial enclosement encapsulation where the driver's separated. Now, that doesn't protect them, but,
well,
we still have that.
That's correct.
Any other questions for Kurt? Okay, I think we need a motion to approve.
Yeah, I move that KRT Board adopts the proposed public transportation agency safety plan as presented.
I'll second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Hi, Sean. Can everyone hear me? This
Yeah.
is Kelsey Tucker with Greg.
Yes, we can, Kelsey.
Hi. Now that is approved, Sean, if you don't mind to send me a copy after the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
As you know, the updated transit safety targets will go before our policy board for approval at our upcoming meeting on December 8th.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get this to you this morning.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kurt again.
I'm up again. All right. Kelsey will want this one as well. So the next plan is Title VI. You probably hear a lot about Title VI. Title VI is developed, our plan is developed by the authority, but this one's a little different. It has to be approved every 3 years instead of annually, okay? So what is Title VI? Title VI requires that no person in the United States based on race, color, or national origin is excluded from participating in, denied benefits of, or otherwise subjected to discrimination under any program that the DOT financially assists. We get federal funds, therefore we are required to have a Title VI plan. Title VI is part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Okay, the circular that came out on to FTA was 2012. Now there hasn't been that many changes to this circular, so the plan basically updates staffing changes and some data. And the data is based off the census. And what this data is who speaks English, who speaks Spanish, who speaks other languages, okay? If we had a high percentage of Spanish speakers, for example, we may be required to do other things. We may be required to have Spanish, language signs put in our buses, or the stops need to be in English and Spanish. But we are nowhere near that in Kanawha County. So those were the changes to Title VI. Again, I'm here to answer any questions. But remember, Title VI is the access, the equal access to our buses and our services.
Thank you, Kurt. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, there's a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries, and I guess Kelsey will get you a copy of that as well.
Great, thank you.
Sean and Jacob?
Yeah, so this next one we're really excited about. We've been talking about this for a while. This is we call it our AVL GPS bid selection. So AVL is our automobile vehicle locator.
Automated vehicle locator.
Automated vehicle locator. You think of it as the brains of our entire operation. You have to know where our buses or our vans are in order to operate, as far as on the dispatch side or Jacob's work. As an operator, you need that in order to run through your entire day and communicate back with dispatch. And also, most importantly to us is for passengers to know where the buses are, so they can be updated on, hey, a bus is running 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, etc. That's so important to us to provide a reliable service to our passengers. And for several years now, we've been working with an antiquated AVL GPS system, and we were really excited that the board approved in the capital budget for us to go out and investigate what a better system may be. And I'm really excited that we've gone through that process, and I wanted to make sure I could let the board know we've traveled across the country to see these different operations. Jacob has spent a tremendous amount of time on the phone getting references from all of the different vendors that submitted requests, and we don't take it lightly that this is a heavy lift and a big ask. But again, this one program is by far probably the most important piece of technology for our whole operation. So we wanted to make sure we let you know that we took this very seriously. And I'll let Jacob get into the scoring and the prices. But one more thing I want to give credit to before this is the first time that I can recall from looking through KRT's bid process that we actually did best and final offer. We went through all the right steps where when these companies submitted their bids and their prices, we did interviews with them, we answered technical questions, and then we came back to them and said, okay, here was your original price, now what's your best and final offer? That's little, but guess what? That shaved off a lot of money off the final price. Historically, we've said, okay, well, that's your price. We'll take it.
You're talking about a bus locator.
Essentially, it does a lot more than that.
Would you have a screen where you could just look up there and tell where that bus is?
You are able, a passenger is able to go online or in our KRT Live app and see where the buses are located. Yes, sir.
Do we have something like that now, or you?
Yes, we do, but we've had some inconsistencies with that system being operational. So you're kind of taking a risk right now when you log into KRT Live, whether or not the buses actually are where they say they are. And then in some scenarios, when the buses go to certain areas, they lose reception. And this will help a little bit with that.
So that bus send a signal back to here, let y'all know where that bus is? Is there a signal locator?
Yeah, that's what this technology does. It sends communications from us to the bus and vice versa. To let us know their
So
location.
can you go and look at the stream, guys pulling it up, here, and tell exactly where that bus is?
Yes.
That's the new, is this been implemented? Or-
Well, we can do it today somewhat, because the system we have today is very unreliable. But yes, the new system would be far more reliable.
Jacob, do you want to go
Yeah.
into the different options and the scoring and the prices?
Yeah, so on the score sheet there, we received 5 bids for this project. Avail, Equans, Passio, Swiftly, and TripSpark. TripSpark actually acquired the company, or vendor we have now, Route Match. It's actually, Route Match has been acquired 2 different times in the past year and a half. But after the scoring process, we narrowed our list down to 2 vendors, Avail and Equans. And then we had some interviews with them and asked for the best and final offers, like Sean mentioned. Both options were very good. We felt one, though, would offer more reliability, better customer support. The reroutes, like there's street closures or accidents, the dispatchers would be able to go in and reroute the path the bus would take. And as soon as they do that, it instantaneously sends the customers a notification, or the passengers a notification of that reroute, so that they could adjust their trip. And it also sends it to the driver's tablet, and it'll reroute them instantaneously. There'll actually be a line on their tablet showing them what path to take. So those 4 things are, I think the 4 main determining factors, and why we want to go with one company.
You wouldn't reroute unless there was an emergency or something.
Right, like a street closure, like a parade or something, or water main break, and we have to
This guy
reroute.
catches the bus every Monday here, and you decide you're gonna go somewhere else one day.
Right, this is like mainly the DOH shuts the road down, or,
Okay.
yeah. But for those reasons, Equans would be our top choice, would be the vendor we would like to recommend the board approve. And some other, on the other sheet, the CAD AVL RFP, it has the pricings. There's also some more functions that we included in the bid, like the core products there. That's the AVL locator, what locates the bus, sends the communications back and forth. Infotainment, it's basically like you're putting a TV screen in the bus for the passengers. It shows them when the next stop is, what time they'll get to that next stop. And it can also be used for advertising. We can work with local companies around the area and put their information on there and sell it for advertising spots. Then reporting, this would be very helpful for Kurt and Sean when it comes to NTD reporting. Every year we had to report passenger miles, how many passengers boarded, and getting this reporting module, it basically just imports everything from the system into it. It'll take in all of our APC or passenger counter information, on-time performance of the trips, passenger miles, how many miles the vans and buses operated, and put it into a form and make it more easily than what we do now to report that information.
Rider can go on his phone, he has an app, or if he already has the KRT, okay.
Right, yeah, they can use it,
He just goes
KRT
in.
Live or like another app, Equans, their app.
Oh, it's not under KRT Live?
It'd be both, there'd be options, more options for the passengers.
So what is the amount that we set aside in the budget for this?
Sorry.
Me? I think it was like 1.6 just for the side of the buses, the main part. And we had another one for the paratransit,
Right.
going through that. But both of those already been approved. We were well under those numbers. Again,
Yeah.
it's where you're gonna play. It's this year, as far as capital upfront cost is gonna be so much, and we're far below that. But we knew with any of them, most of the stuff now, you've got the cloud, you've got the maintenance, the hosting, and all the other part. We'll have to be increasing, which we're gonna have to do anyway, our operating budget for the future years, no matter which direction we went. But again, Equans did have the lowest in both those.
Got it. I mean, I think that this fits well with everything that we've been doing lately, you know, to update our transit, to provide better options and become, you know, more modern and tech friendly and just adapt to our changing world. I mean, I think a lot of bus systems already have this stuff in place and it works, which is important. So I mean, I think that this is I'm glad we're doing this.
With bus board, you got a better deal. Apon's had highest rating. I mean, not by much, but by
About 1 point, yeah.
And still, that was a big chunk of change for a difference in price.
Right, that's-
$100,000 on a bid.
Yeah.
What is it, why is that so much difference?
The BAFO stage was a big reason. Equan's number was higher initially, but when we did that BAFO, they dropped their number
When
down.
you did the what?
Best and final offer.
Is this including the best and final? These
Yes,
numbers?
those are the final prices.
What about in the scoring? Was it considered?
That was before we did the BAFO stage.
The scoring was before?
Yeah, correct. And then also Vail, like after having these interviews, Equans included a few functions in their core product, and Vail actually raised their price in the BAFO because of some functions that we thought we would like.
If these are correct prices, I'd make a motion that we accept the Apon's.
Second bid, I'm second.
All right, there's a motion and a second to accept this Equans
Question.
bid.
Are y'all satisfied with Equan?
Yeah.
That's what we recommend.
Yes.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, employee holiday celebration.
Yes, this is a little bit fun one. So over the past couple of years with the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a shift from our traditional holiday celebration where we would bring in the employees and retirees, kind of have a day-long buffet downstairs, and that's fantastic, but obviously it was not possible during the pandemic. In place of that, we instituted a scenario where the active employees received it was a net $100. I think it was $106, something like that. Taxes. Yeah, we had to take taxes out of it, like a $100 essentially, you know, holiday check in lieu of that fee, festivity. So the question came up to this year, you know, now that COVID is kind of, it's not gone, but it is waning, what are we going to do? So I took the temperature of the union and some of the employees as far as what they would prefer on this, and the overwhelming feedback was that $100 check would go a little bit further with them and their families than necessarily a meal would here during the day. I did want to make sure I gave the feedback of President Goldman, who asked maybe we could do the check and a toned down, smaller 11 to 1 o'clock luncheon here on site also. My only caveat of that is you're going to kind of disenfranchise some people because they're going to be out driving and they're going to have people complain that they didn't get the food and other people did. But if it's aimed at retirees and making sure we don't leave them out, then I understand that. But that's kind of on the table there. Do we want to do the $100 check? Do we want to do the meal? Or do we want to do something in between?
Is that considered like a one-time pay raise type thing, or legally, or how's that?
Well, we had a problem in the past because technically you're not allowed to give anything greater than $25. And we were providing like a $50 gift card, which technically is in violation. So it made it cleaner when we made it to the $100 because we were doing it through the payroll, through the net check. But it's been done like that the last, like 2 years.
So that's
And it
legal
cleaned
then.
things up,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
IRS rules, which you're not in a huge violation, but again, you're still not doing it correctly.
I got a question for the attorney. Do you set we've already done it twice, you say?
That's how we've done it, yes.
Well, it was COVID too.
How many times are we gonna do this before you make a precedent out of it, where you have to do it every year? Not that I have a problem with doing that, I'm just,
Well, in terms of, I have to pause and think on that for a minute, circle back to me in a second.
I served on a committee of pension, and we were given 13th check, because we were, you know, funds are doing great. And the attorney warned us that we do it one more time, you're locked in.
I don't know if there's a firm number, but they're just, theoretically short.
Is it that $100 would appease everybody, or a meal, like I said, there might be some problems.
The retirees get that, or just active employees?
It's just active employees that receive that check, so that's the big difference.
Can you do retirees? Is that possible?
No, the substantial,
I mean,
the cost will go up
How
substantially.
many of them
but-
come in the past for people? I mean, is it really attended by the retirees? I mean, do we get 5 of them or 50 of them? I mean, I think the people that have been in the past, if they could shift.
It was a larger number than what you would think. I mean, it was a good,
I mean, when you say 25, 50?
yeah, at least 50, yeah.
At least 50?
Yeah, I mean, we
Came by.
did
Okay, so
have.
people actually came. That's why I was wondering, if you have 1 or 2 people, it's just, that's insignificant.
It was all day, but again, they stagger, some will come back and go, I mean, but you had, garage drivers, I mean, it was,
Okay.
it was a good mix.
All right.
And it was something they did look forward to, and that's what, the $100 is easier, it's clean, we're doing everything correctly. It's just taking care of the current.
Right. And how much work is it for you all to do something between 11 and 1 in addition to that? I mean, is it a lot of work to have to do that?
No.
Because I was gonna say, I mean, I think if we have 50 people that come back, it may make sense to go ahead and do something on a limited basis in conjunction with that from 11 to 1.
And I think other
time consuming.
The concern there is we could have to go for employees who couldn't be in there, who were out driving. So one
Right.
thing you could have available probably to try to make sure we accommodate all the different shifts and everything. But if we targeted more for the retirees.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, they're getting a check
Right.
for it, so the whole thing is that, I mean, we're sorry that you can't make it between 11 and 1 and you're out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're being compensated and recognized for
Right.
what you're doing, so I think that, makes up for it. As far
We'd
as
rather
I'm
have
concerned.
$100 than a turkey sandwich.
Well, and that's our
I
plan
think
too.
Todd's on the right idea, I like Todd's
Yeah,
motion.
and our plan was to also use a local vendor, whether it's Gibson Brothers or
Right.
Courthouse here, or someone local where we could vend it, would be very
Good, I
easy.
just wanna make sure it's easy
Yeah.
enough on you all to
Yes.
do both.
Yes.
If, do you have any other feelings or thoughts on that?
I agree with you, I think it sounds better to have a.
What's the cost of the?
Yeah, so the checks themselves is around 16,000.
Yeah, payroll tax and all employees be about that. And then in the past, we had like 7 to 10 budgeted for the activity, but then we would also do the gift cards. So you're still at
About the
16
same.
cents, about the same amount, and this would just be then a little bit more, which would be, again, you're really directing for the retirees.
I guess the thing is that what you all would recommend that we do, that we
Yeah.
do the $100 check and we do a lunch between 11 and 1, or,
I mean, I think that is, as far
You
as
would try to-
satisfying and making sure we let our existing employees know we appreciate them and helping them with the holiday time, and also making sure we don't,
I'll make you a motion
Turn around on
that
our
you.
retirees.
How are you guys with that?
We're good with that. Sean and I met about it, and, the $100 will work for the employees. And I never heard the luncheon idea for the retirees, but I think that's a good idea also.
Yeah, I'll make you a motion that you do the $100 and a limited, luncheon
From
for,
11
it's for everyone, not just the retirees, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'll second
and
that.
if you make it, you make it, if you don't, maybe next year. Like I said, they'd rather have the $100 than the turkey sandwich.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
Was the question asked that once you started, will you be consistent every year or required to do this every year?
She's still working on it, I saw the
That's the
title.
thing. Or maybe the
So like if your
stipulation.
funds dwindle, we wouldn't have to provide this every time.
and I think
Right.
that's why we
You
come to
can
the
make it
board every
contingent
single year to
upon-
ask to make
Do
this
what?
there.
Well,
On a yearly,
maybe make
we're
it
doing it on a
contingent.
yearly basis.
Yeah, it's not at the discretion for us, it's something the board actually allows every year, so. I think we have shown that over the past, the board has had to make adaptations based off of whether it's pandemics or different scenarios, so.
Okay. All right, there is a
If
motion.
you need help, definitely doing it, that's on the hip now, we got it all.
All right, motion and second on the floor. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Okay, anything else, Sean?
Nope, I think that is it for this month. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you guys, and,
All right.
have a happy Thanksgiving, and let's see you
Yeah.
back here.